Video. Again, I apologize for being sick and my voice sounding a little weird, and for the angle and stuff, but we'll make it work. I'm going to give you an idea of how to do an orthographic drawing. This is what we're going to do the drawing of. It's just like this little battery pack that I've got. Right. So, but first we need to get our page set up before we do anything with that. So what you're going to want to do always first is split your page into fours. Now I would use graph paper if I were you, which is located in the front of the room. Excuse me. Which is located in the front of the room in those gray shelves by the door. Right when you walk in, there's some graph paper. That's what I would use, but I don't have any at home. So then remember, we're always going to start in the bottom left. That's the front view, and then up here is going to be the top view, and then this is going to be the right view. So I'm going ahead and I'm writing that in. So you can see I've got written in, I've got front written in, top written in, right written in, so I don't forget. Okay, so I always start with the front view. So the front view of this little fella is basically that. Alright, but here's the deal. If I'm talking about just the front view, then I'm talking about it, I'm talking about it like this. Alright, so I don't see the top, I don't see the bottom. I'm looking at it straight on from the side. So if I draw this, I'm not worried about the small details at this point. We're just thinking basic shapes. Right? So if I draw this just how I look, think this is a cylinder, but if you look at it from the side, it's a rectangle, right? It looks like a rectangle. So if I draw this on my paper, it's just going to look very, very simple, just like this. Okay? Just a rectangle. That's all I drew. A tall, skinny rectangle. Alright, now if we think about the top view, because I like to do the top view next, this right here, that's my top view. So what shape is it? Think basic shapes. It's a circle, okay, with a couple little rectangles in it. So it's a circle. So when I do my top view, again, if you think about that first video, I'm going to draw some dots up. Dot, 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 dot. Dot, 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 dot. Again, that'll be easier on graph paper. And that's going to be how wide it is. So and then I just draw my circle in there. And then I'm going to draw in my rectangle showing the USB ports. So there's my top view. Circle with a couple of ports in it. And then let's compare. What do you think? Pretty close, right? Okay, so don't overthink this. It's draw what you see. The biggest problem students have is they try to add in details that they remember in their head but aren't actually there. Alright, so take a minute and guess. What's the right view going to look like? Here's the front view. What's going to happen if I twist this to the right? Whoop. Twisted. Is it any different? You should be thinking in your head it's going to be exactly the same. That's right. It's going to be exactly the same. The right side, I could spin this 360 degrees. And besides the little logo there that's on the side, it's not going to be any different. So my right view, when I draw it, super, super simple. Do my dots, so I make it the same height. Again, this will be easier on graph paper. Should look basically exactly the same as the top or as the front view. So there you go. I'm done. There's my object. So it's that simple. Don't overthink it. Okay, don't overthink it. Let's do another one here real quick just to make sure we're all on the same page. Right? I happen to have this little thing here. It's like a flashlight, combination flashlight screwdriver thing. but we're just going to draw basic shapes of it. So I'm going to flip over my paper, and again, what's the first thing you're going to do? Is you're going to draw your paper, you're going to split your paper into fourths. And I'm going to label it front, right, top. Okay. So now, I mean, and it's really up to you which side's which side's front, right, and top. For me, I'm going to say that this is the front, right here. So look at that straight on and think, what does it look like? Well, basically you've got a rectangle with that little clip on top. So when I'm drawing it out here, for my front view, I'm looking at it like this. I'm thinking, okay, let's draw that basic rectangle. And again, we'll measure all this stuff later and do it and be more precise later, but right now we're just practicing. And then I'm just going to draw kind of what this clip looks like, straight on. So the clip is really just super, super thin. It's got kind of a triangle, like a curved triangle shape up near my fingers, and then that little hook at the end. So I'm just going to think, okay, about where is this stuff at on here, and this is kind of like right there. And then I'm going to do just my long thing, and then the clip. So something like that. And you can see mine compared. Okay, pretty close. Pretty close. And you know what? I might even draw a line on here to show that that's like the cap or whatever you want to call it. So there we go. Front view. Alright, so let's do the top view. Roll it around, look at the top. What do you see on the top? Alright, so I'm going to draw my dots first. Just like we always will. Oh, I'm all over the place with these dots. There we go. Dots. Dots. I'm going to draw a dot from the top of the clip. So I know where that's at. I'm going to draw a dot from the end of the clip. Draw a dot from the bottom. Okay, now I've got at least my length is here. So I'm going to go ahead, and then I don't even have to think about it. Boom, I know that's my length. Okay, I'm looking at this. Thinking, okay, it's basically a rectangle. So I'm going to draw my rectangle. It's bigger than this rectangle, though. Not twice as big. Okay, so there's my basic rectangle. And then I know that this is where kind of the clip starts, and this is where the clip ends. So the clip is just, it's really just another rectangle, right, if you're looking at it. So I'm going to go ahead and draw another rectangle here. Now I'm going to get fancy with this because it's got these little indents here. So I'm not going to pay too close attention, but I'm just going to make, like, I'm just going to draw them in there. And then I know that this is where the cap ends, so I'm going to draw that. Okay, now, if you want to get really fancy with it, you can tell that really we should have done a shape that is more kind of like this at the end back there. But there's my top. Something like that. Okay. Sorry again. Not perfect, but you know, we're just practicing now. We're just getting the idea. So next view is the right view. So this was our front view. And the right view, we turn it like this. And we look. And I told you this was a flashlight screwdriver thing. So if we're looking at it head on, that's what it looks like. And you can see there's like a little screwdriver port, and then there's a light bulb. But again, basically we got a rectangle, and then we got a rectangle on top of that with 4 little like kind of indent rectangles in it. Okay, so I'm going to draw my dotted lines over. Dotted line, dotted line, dotted lines over. I'm going to draw my main rectangle. which should be as wide as this one up here, close to it. Okay, something like that. And then I know that that clip is smaller, so I know that this, it should be like something like that. I'm going to draw in my little black rectangles there. I'm going to draw in my screwdriver. And I'll draw on my flashlight. So something like that. Okay, again, it's not perfect, but we're just practicing. So what I want you guys to do is just together as a class, grab some simple objects from around the room and just do practicing. Notice we only spent like a couple minutes on each of these. Mine took longer because I was explaining them. But you should just take like 3-4 minutes per object, if that, for starters. So do, half dozen, 10 items around the room together, and then compare, and then start grab a couple more, maybe a little more complicated ones, and then try those on your own. Again, this is what the finished drawing looks like. Alright, I hope that helps. Good luck. Get some good practice in today. We'll do some more with these orthographic drawings tomorrow.